Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. A former bus driver in Carl Junction, Missouri is sentenced after sexual contact with a minor. Plus, authorities hope a higher reward for information leads to the remains of a missing Southeast Kansas woman.
A report on the performance of Missouri veterans' homes during the COVID-19 pandemic has been released. I'm Chris Warner. We'll break down that report.
Doug Eddy is weather tonight. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. You may have noticed the past few days a 30-minute version of our newscast instead of 1 hour. We've been experiencing some technical difficulties that continue tonight. Our apologies, and we thank you for your understanding and patience. A judge sentences a former Carl Junction, Missouri school bus driver who had sexual contact with a student. As part of a plea deal, Dennis Frakes gets a 4-year prison term. Frakes had told investigators that beginning back in 2015, when working as a bus driver, he had sexual contact with a 15-year-old Carl Junction high school student. Kansas Highway Patrol investigates an accident involving a Pittsburgh police car and a pedestrian. It happened on New Year's Eve shortly before 11 p.m. Authorities say Pittsburgh police officer was driving south on Walnut Street near the intersection with Kansas Street when the patrol car hit 23-year-old Marco Diaz. Diaz was taken to the hospital, but there has been no word on his condition since. Again, the Kansas State Highway Patrol is investigating what happened. Authorities have filed charges against a Joplin woman involved in a crash that killed 2 people. The crash happened at 28th and Connecticut in Joplin yesterday afternoon. Investigators say 30-year-old Rita Glasgow was intoxicated when she drove a reportedly stolen pickup through a stop sign, hit the side of an SUV. 2 people in that SUV were killed. They are 55-year-old Terry Koppel and 48-year-old Rhonda Koppel, both of Joplin. Glasgow was hospitalized in serious condition. Authorities filed various charges against Glasgow, including driving while intoxicated, death of 2 or more, possession of a controlled substance, and tampering with the motor vehicle. Glasgow previously had active warrants for tampering with the motor vehicle and drug trafficking. More than 29 years after the disappearance of a woman in Cherokee County, Kansas, the reward is increasing for information that leads to the recovery of her remains. Carol Sullins was 18 years old when she disappeared from the Galena nightclub where she worked back in August of 1991. In 2002, Donald Kidwell was sentenced for his role in Sullins' death as part of a plea agreement, but Sullins' remains were never found. Now, a private donor has increased the reward to $20,000 for information that leads to those remains. Tips should go to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. An external review requested by the Missouri Veterans Commission to investigate the cause of a prolonged outbreak of COVID-19 at Missouri veterans' homes has been released. KOAM's Chris Warner has details.
In September of 2020, the veterans' homes operated by the Missouri Veterans Commission experienced a prolonged outbreak of COVID-19. As of November 13th of last year, there had been 103 deaths. So the commission requested an independent investigation into the cause and the commission's response. The investigation was concluded and the report released. However, a report from the Associated Press says Chairman of the Commission, Tim Noonan, resisted releasing the entire report until Attorney General Eric Schmidt directed him to do so. The results of the investigation say at the state level, the MVC failed to recognize the outbreak, failed to plan for an extensive outbreak, and failed to respond to the outbreak. The report broke down each veterans home in the state and their individual response. Locally, at the Mount Vernon home, the report noted the home had instituted many positive practices and that at the time of the report, the outbreak was contained to the isolation unit. However, it also noted 3 key deficiencies, saying there are concerns regarding the practices of the Mount Vernon home that may have contributed to the spread of COVID-19 amongst its veterans and staff. Those 3 points of concerns are, first, there is no evidence of general infection prevention and control policies and procedures. Second, education on procedures is not in compliance with COVID-19 guidance, including hand hygiene. And lastly, communication and directives from headquarters change frequently, creating confusion and inconsistent practices. The report says the administrator of the Mount Vernon home says earlier access to testing may have helped quickly identify positive staff. According to the report, one staff member reported symptoms of COVID-19 in September and was asked to continue working, which the report says the staff member attributed to low staffing. However, the Mount Vernon home has only reported 9 deaths, which is 4th lowest in the state, behind St. Louis, Mexico, and Warrensburg. According to the report, headquarters did not prepare or anticipate an outbreak and develop a plan. Instead, it relied solely on the state's guidance on influenza. Because of that, the report states one staff member says the staff felt it was, quote, flying by the seat of their pants in terms of COVID outbreak preparation. In Mount Vernon, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The MVC sent a statement saying they had already started implementing COVID-19 corrective actions regarding COVID-19. The full statement and the full 415-page report are in this story on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today signed an executive order extending relief for motor carriers from certain rules and regulations. The governor's office says this will allow those carriers to quickly deliver necessary supplies during this pandemic. The Crawford County Health Department is reporting a couple more COVID-19 related deaths. One of those deaths happened last Wednesday and the other happens today. The county now has had 33 total deaths. Some frontline workers are now getting their second dose of a COVID-19 vaccine as the rollout ramps up across the country. This comes as hospitalizations hit a record high and overwhelm facilities in hard-hit areas. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has more.
Just 3 weeks after receiving the nation's first shot of a COVID-19 vaccine, New York nurse Sandra Lindsay got her second dose of Pfizer's formula today. The company says its vaccine is 95% effective after the second shot.
We don't have that herd immunity yet, but the burden feels definitely much lighter today.
Today, Moderna announced it's ramping up production of its vaccine with a goal of producing up to 1 billion doses this year. The U.S. is on track to get 1 million doses of Moderna's formula by the end of March. This comes as public health officials face criticism for a slower vaccine rollout, inoculating 20% of the original goal of 20 million people by the end of 2020. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio calling on the government and manufacturers to speed up the delivery process.
We need to expand those categories. We need to reach many more people quickly, urgently.
And the vaccines can't come soon enough. A record high 125,000 people are now hospitalized with COVID-19. Here in California, hospitals are treating more than 21,000 of those patients, forcing some facilities to turn offices and tents into treatment rooms.
On ICU admissions, we've seen a 6-fold increase in just 2 months. That goes to the urgency of not only this moment, but the urgency that we have placed in anticipation of this surge.
A new University of Washington model projects the country's death toll could top 500,000 people by early February. In Santa Monica, California, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Adding to concerns, a new variant of the virus has been found in California, Colorado, and now Florida. And this afternoon, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo confirmed a man tested positive for the new strain, which was first identified over in the UK. The man didn't travel recently, and Cuomo suggested community spread may have led to his exposure. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our 4 state heroes, Charles Sluter. Served in the U.S. Army from 1970 to 71, stationed in Vietnam. He earned several awards, and we are very proud to thank Master Sergeant Charles Sluter. He is tonight's 4 state hero. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, plus how the community is showing support for a recently destroyed area mosque.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a pretty nice day for us today. Actually, yesterday and today, we got to melt off all the snow and ice that we picked up last Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. And if we look at those stats for the season, we're actually at 4 inches. We're moving right along. We're a third of the way where we should be for a winter season here in the 4-state area. Plus a ½ inch of ice. You can see that average is 12 inches of snow each year. Looks great outside. Live shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But looks pretty good. We have the clear skies, and that's going to stick around for us tonight. But changes down the road. As we look down the road, next system Wednesday into Thursday. There's going to be rain, possibly over to some snow. We'll cool back down with it and behind it. We have a very weak system on Sunday, but of course you can always get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. Look at our highs for us today. Pretty good day. Most of us upper 40s to lower 50s across the region. We've dropped off a bit. It's going to be cold tonight. It's not going to be extremely cold, but cold. 32 Fort Scott, 36 in Parsons, Miami 37, Carthage 38 as well in Neosho. And we've had these kind of northwesterly winds all day long, which are fairly weak now, and they're eventually going to switch back out of the south for us tomorrow. And that's going to actually help our temperatures start to warm right back up. Clear skies, though, for us tonight. Any clouds we had earlier today are gone. Out to the west, here's our next storm system starting to brew. It is right out across the Pacific Northwest, and this is going to drop in by the time we head into Wednesday and Thursday and kind of change our weather up just a bit. Tonight is fine. Maybe a little bit of patchy fog. We'll drop back into the mid-20s. If you're getting up early, cold start, 25 degrees, but a very quick warm up. South winds throughout the day. We'll be at 50 by noon. I think most of us will top out right around 55 during the afternoon, which is pretty good, warmer than what we have seen, at least over the past several days. You can see the entire four-state area pretty much into the mid, if not upper 50s during the afternoon. Here come the clouds tomorrow night. Could get a little bit of drizzle, maybe a few showers in here late tomorrow night. Rain increases on Wednesday. It's not going to be heavy rain. It's going to be light rain, but it's going to be persistent. Kind of a cold rain into low to mid 40s. Here's Wednesday evening. Let's go into Wednesday night. Rain sits on top of us, and we could start to see a little mix of rain and then switching over to snow. You can see the pink and the blue, and then periods of rain and snow Thursday morning, and then this will taper out by Thursday afternoon. If there were accumulations, which are possible, especially on the grassy surfaces, it looks light right now, but definitely something we want to keep our eyes on over the next couple days. 57 tomorrow, 38 tomorrow night, 46 on Wednesday, 39 with that kind of rain snow mix on Thursday. Then we start to dry out Friday and Saturday.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. A fundraiser to rebuild the Islamic Mosque in Knoll, Missouri surpasses $80,000. Back on December 28th, the fire destroyed the Knoll Mosque, the central meeting place for the area's Muslim community. The fire also damaged the African grocery store. So, the Joplin Islamic Society and the Bentonville, Arkansas Islamic Center in Arkansas have been raising funds to help the community. In just a week, there's been $82,000 in donations. Naveed Zaidi, one of the board members with the Joplin Islamic Society, says it's heartwarming to see the support.
We didn't think we were gonna, raise so much in such a, small amount of time. So it is very heartwarming. I think the Knoll community, they understand how important it is for them. They're really happy to see this.
The plan right now is to find a temporary place to establish a mosque with plans to rebuild later down the road. Coming up, how some area folks are trying to meet those fitness resolutions in the age of coronavirus. The Joplin City Council tonight approved a resolution that creates guidelines for how they will consider employee pay raises. The council says the resolution helps to establish the commitment and necessity to maintain market competitive pay for city employees. A community college in Chanute, Kansas fails their entire nursing program. 22 students at the Mary Grimes School of Nursing at Neosho County Community College failed in the program this far. After receiving emails from our viewers, we reached out to the school, which sent us a statement from President Brian Inbody. It says in part, quote, NCCC and the Mary Grimes School of Nursing is taking this matter very seriously. We established a process and a timeline to hopefully agreeably resolve the immediate situation for the students and provide a long-term plan for program improvements at the LPN level in Chanute. Something like this has never happened before in the decades-long history of Mary Grimes School of Nursing, and we will ensure it doesn't happen again. The school has not told us why the students failed, if they failed out of the entire program, or what course of action those students have now. We also reached out to a student who says they don't want to comment publicly at this time, but they did confirm that it involved the entire class. We have reached out to the Kansas Board of Regents and Kansas Board of Nursing for further details, but have not heard back from them yet. With the start of the new year, plenty of people are setting those fitness goals, right, as part of their New Year's resolution. But the pandemic has changed the way a lot of people are choosing to work out. KOM's Kate Kelly shares how a Joplin gym is adapting to help people meet those goals.
During lockdown, gyms closed, prompting more people to look into workouts they could do from the comfort of their own home to beat the quarantine blues.
It's definitely helped me to get out of the funk of being stuck inside. And Olivia's really good. Her trainings are just really good about getting your mindset.
Olivia Lotvin teaches workouts online through Altered Gym. She offers several plans for people based on their needs and what they have on hand.
We have a lot of people that have just been stuck at home and they haven't gotten sick, but they don't have any dumbbells. So how can we assist them so that they still feel like they're doing the things to keep them mentally and physically healthy?
Another perk that comes with these online workouts is flexibility.
Most gyms, are open for a certain amount of hours. And so the time of the day fitting into my schedule is the best part for me.
Of course, the gym is still open for anyone who wants to come in. Social distancing and masks are required, but the pandemic and technology has opened up a new way of exercising.
It's been super awesome to just see how well it's taken, how many people have been interested in learning more and doing more and going outside of their comfort zone.
I do go to the gym here and there, but not I do more workouts at home, and I think that'll be what I stick to.
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
More people are investing in those home gyms. According to eBay sales data between March and April of 2020, online sales of fitness equipment increased up to 20 times compared to the same time frame last year. If you'd like to learn more about Altered's online programs, go ahead and check out the link in this article on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. People in Fort Scott, Kansas tomorrow can vote on Charter Ordinance 31, as it's being called. It's a proposal to allow transfers from the city's sewer and storm sewer reserve fund. Now, if passed, the ordinance, as we're being told, wouldn't raise taxes, but allow one department in the city to reimburse another department in the city for things like utility work. Well, just ahead, a new accusation against President Trump.
Two Democratic members of Congress write a criminal referral to the FBI regarding President Trump. I'm Ray Bogan with why they say the president may have broken federal election law. Coming up.
Just days away from Congress formally recording the nation's electoral votes, and there is momentum building among Republicans to object to some states' results. And this comes as there's fallout from the president's leaked phone conversation with Georgia officials urging further investigation into election fraud. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has the latest.
Nearly a dozen Republican senators are proposing the creation of an election commission to investigate allegations of fraud.
None of us are trying to overthrow an election. We're trying to say, hey, there are still lots of questions from millions of people out there, and we think those questions need to be answered.
House GOP Chair Liz Cheney wrote a 21-page memo to her colleagues saying objections to the Electoral College, quote, set an exceptionally dangerous precedent. But President Trump is not backing down. He tweeted, "The surrender caucus within the Republican Party will go down in infamy as weak and ineffective."
And the reason I'm having to stand here today is because there are people in positions of authority and respect who have said their votes didn't count.
Two Democratic members of Congress sent a criminal referral to the FBI asking them to open an immediate investigation into whether President Trump broke federal and Georgia state election law in a leaked phone call where he claimed Georgia's November election had widespread fraud.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
The request to FBI Director Chris Wray says the evidence of election fraud by Mr. Trump is now in broad daylight.
The chaos, confusion, conflict, and corruption that Donald Trump has inflicted upon this country is something to be evaluated by the historians.
The president's attorney is accusing Georgia's Secretary of State and his staff of secretly recording their conversation and inappropriately leaking it. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Georgia's Secretary of State tells Fox he wasn't aware the phone conversation was being recorded at the time, but says a decision was later made to respond to what he called misinformation from the president. All right, so the holidays are over, right? Those Christmas trees, now trash, turning out to be a delicious treat for those guys right there. Goats. More on this when we come back. Holiday season has come and gone, and by the way, I hope it was awesome for each of you, safe. And people across the country are starting to throw out those Christmas trees, the live ones in a way. Hopefully you don't throw out the artificial one. It still looks pretty. In Colorado, folks are getting a helping hand with recycling those live, or now dead, Christmas trees from a handful of goats. The barnyard animals at Ginger Snap Ranch are getting a belated holiday gift. Staff members here are receiving donated Christmas trees, and they donated themselves to the goats. It was a healthy snack. And as they munch, animal experts say the crunch is just what these goats needed in their diets. I remember hearing, some time ago that Christmas trees are good for goats. Isn't that something, how nature works? Thanks for joining us tonight so much. We appreciate it, bearing with us during these technical difficulties. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.